reporting that the education department employees have been told that they must vacate their offices in DC and the regions by 6 o'clock tonight, and that the offices will be closed on Wednesday for security reasons. Let's bring in Charlie. He is breaking this story this afternoon, hopping on set to talk to us about it. So give us some sense here. What are you hearing?
A little background. I mean, I have sources in the education department. They've been sending me these directives that have been coming since Linda McMahon was named education department chief about massive reductions. I mean, they're not hiding the football here. They're talking massive reductions.
Hello. Well, as you can see, I started my video with a little clip from, in this case, Fox News. Why not? And it's an old one, not extremely old, but an old one. And it states what is currently happening in the USA. And it's one of the many aspects of the things that they are dismantling. They are dismantling FEMA, for example. They are dismantling all of them. And in this case, it's the Department of Education. And why is that? Well, my friends, stupid people, gullible people are much easier to control than intelligent people that think for themselves, that have an opinion, and that question authority, and that question the way that authority is exerting its authority over you, the way your constitution is being dismantled, the way that your lifestyle is being dismantled. Stupid people are easy to control. If you have a stupid person, that person will believe in about everything you say. They will believe only in what they see on TV, and if you control the media, and they do control it, you can make them believe whatever that you want them to believe. You can present things and call them facts when in fact they are narratives. And all of those stupid people will just say, oh, yes, very true. It was on TV, so it must be rap, huh? Yeah, this is what they want. Also, they don't want to have a working education system because then all of those poor people, some of them dark skinned, not call them something else, okay? Some of them the kind of people they don't like, so that those people don't have access to education. And if they don't have access to education, they will have to, them and all the hillbillies, they will have to simply work in those boring manual jobs, okay, and not question authority, not getting an education, not being smarter, not knowing how to use their money smarter, a lot of things. This is one of the signs that you are in danger. Whenever someone attacks doctors, courts, or schools, something fishy is going on. Because if you think about it, doctors, like that idiot that is dismantling the entire vaccine system in the USA, and like all of those idiot theories about vaccination that running amok in the USA, so much so some Americans have been barred from entering in Europe because you don't have the bloody vaccines. You need doctors to tell you there is a pandemic event, that you need to do this and do that to take care of yourselves, that you cannot eat certain foods because they are bad for you, they will cause you this and this problem. You need doctors. You need teachers, because teachers educate people. They teach you. They teach you to read. They teach you to write. They teach you to interpret the text. They teach you mathematics. They teach you all a range of things. And they even incite in you the desire to learn more, to be more aware of the world, to understand things, to understand life, to understand politics, to understand economics, to understand all of that. And then you have the courts. Independent courts will treat the state like any other citizen. They will defend the citizens if the citizens need to be defended. They will enforce rules and regulations on everyone, state included. So you want to dismantle these three areas, you want to dismantle it, and the only purpose that you do this, it's because you are seizing power, or you are getting richer by fooling people, by dismantling the government, by taking in taxes like they are doing with the tariffs. There are taxes on the American people. They are not tariffs on other countries. Other countries don't eat the tariffs. You eat the tariffs. Your companies eat the tariffs. The ones inside of your country importing the products, they eat the tariffs. And then they grab them tariffs, they give it right back to you, Baba. Understand? So I I'm kind of doing this, putting a little video as an intro, because I think a nice visual aid is interesting for you to understand what the hell I'm talking about. Look, a dumb country is an easy country to control. Education, 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 education. You need education. If you have people, look, I'm not talking about everyone doesn't need to be a college degree and everyone does not need to have a history major or philosophy major, whatever. No, that is not what I'm talking about. But if you have educated people who have critical thinking, they will analyze things. They will not be gullible. They will understand things. They will, for example, an educated person would know if someone is saying tariffs, we are filling our coffers with billions in tariffs. That person would have the critical thinking to tell whoever is telling you this, to tell him something like this. No, you're not. Those tariffs are being paid by our importers, and we are paying them at the supermarket, at the grocery store, because business does not eat the tariffs. Business passes the tariffs to us, the consumers. So stop the bloody tariffs. Stop it. Stop doing that. Okay? This is critical thinking. This is knowing how to reason things. And you dismantle the education system. Okay? And then you will have states where, for example, it's commonplace to burn books, to ban art, to burn certain things, to have things like creationism next to real science. For God's sake. It might seem ironic, but it's not. For God's sake. Okay? For God's sake. What are you doing? Do you believe the world is 6,000 years old? Do you believe in the flood? Do you believe that Noah had a wood ark with all one or two of a kind of every animal inside of it, and he had only his family afterwards, and then they repopulated the earth with their incestuous brats? Don't you know that is a story to teach ancient people a lesson, to tell them that, for example, God does not like the weak in their logic. Attention, this is not my logic. God does not like the wicked ones. but he loves the good ones, and that God will save the good people from bad things, that he will save nature for for him, for the good people, that the good people are protected by God. Don't you understand that? Are you that stupid? Don't you know that the narrative of Moses is half an event that happened, and half the embellishment that came before it? Do you know what the Israelites were? They were a couple of nomads in the desert, living in the desert lands. They were another tribe of the Arabic Peninsula. And then they did what other nomads from the desert did. They invaded lands and they mixed with the people that were there, and they created proto kingdoms that then became into kingdoms. This happened in what is today Israel. This happened in the Fertile Crescent region, okay, Iraq, all of that. It happened in South Iran. It happened everywhere. And in different parts of the world, this happened to different people. In Europe, it was the same. You had villages, you had civilizations, or proto civilizations, and then came some invaders, and they mixed or destroyed themselves, whatever, and they created cultures, kingdoms, city states. Okay, and you have to look at the Bible in that perspective. It's not a historic event. Okay, it's not. Stop with this. Why are you still persisting in this when we have scientific proofs that it is not so? I was born in a house that was built over an ancient Neolithical burial place near a circle of stones. I was born in a house built there. When they were digging up one of the historic houses and fixing things, they found skeletons. They found her funeral urns. They found a hell of a lot of things. Okay, it's documented. You want to know how old it is? In the north of the place where I was born, in the town I was born in South Portugal, north of it, there are the remains of people that during the Ice Age, do your go to Google or whatever search engine you search and see when the Ice Age was. There is the remains of camps where people that lived in the extreme south of the Iberian Peninsula, in what is today the Algarve and South Spain, that was more or less livable. Those people, when summer came, they would march to the north, further north, and establish camps, preferably near rivers, to hunt, to collect meat, and then go back south again. Do you have any idea of how many thousands of years that happened? And you have the fossil record. You have no idea of what the concept of deep time is. You are living in a medieval world. How can you stand there with a serious face and talk about this? How? And then you don't need education. You are the ones that need education, because believing in science does not contradict your religious beliefs. In fact, in some occasions, in some occasions, it even reinforces your faith. There is nothing wrong in believing in a God, in believing in a force, whatever you want to call it. Nothing wrong. But you don't try to apply that to reality because you will fail. All the stories of the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament, they are composed of this: embellished versions of historic events, like, for example, having a brilliant king called Solomon in one of the small kingdoms that are recorded in history. Okay, the other empires in the region recorded that they existed, also the Romans, in that you had a series of prophets that did this and did that, another embellished version of their lives, but they most probably existed, or they were the collective history of many attributes that were given to the ideal prophet. And you have a genealogy of people that you don't know rat's ass about, and then you have the idea that is behind them, the lessons that are taught, like Benjamin being sold into Egypt by his brothers, retribution, forgiveness, the plagues in Egypt, God being stronger than the strongest king in the world. You don't look, when people like you try to discuss the Bible with me, it's useless because that game does not work with me. Oh, it's the word of God. Yes, it might be the word of God. Why not? But is it a factual truth? Do you believe we are all sons of Adam and Eve and their two sons? We are all incestuous brats. And he and God, Eve must have worked a lot to have so many kids and daughters, and then fathers f their daughters and whatever, and cousins and all. Are you mad? Don't you know that what you remove from that history, from that story, from that fable, what you remove from that is not an historic truth, but a lesson of trusting in God. In their, this is their idea, not mine. Okay, but of trusting in God to know what is good for you to follow, not to give in into certain things in your nature, to control yourself. Don't you know that? Are you that stupid? Well, and meanwhile, you are doing exactly like the zealot Muslims. You are doing absolutely the same. You are all, look, all of you, you're all in the mix. You are doing exactly that. You are following literally a story that was meant for people that live hundreds of thousands of years ago. People that do not live in the same world that we live in, people that do not have the same knowledge as we did. For God's sakes, the Egyptians, for example, they believed that the world was the Egyptians, those that appear in the history channels as part aliens, and that the pyramids were built by aliens, another stupid idea. They believed that the world was in the form of a shoebox, and that below was a liquid chaos. And you are basing your scientific idea of the world on that. You and the flat earthers, you are the same. Utterly mad. But go ahead. Defund your education system. Defund it. Defund it even more. And pretty soon, you will have an array of population so gullible, but so gullible, they will be like medieval peasants that when they saw a thunder strike the horizon, they said, in something like it's God punishing us, and they would sacrifice a virgin or a goat or whatever the hell they would do. But you go ahead, if you want to be medieval, if you want to go back in time and live in that stupid world, that safe little stupid world where you don't have to question your own existence, that you are safe. If you want to go back there, go. Just don't drag the rest of us with you. Okay? Stay in your corner.